Hi, everyone. I'm Teri.
And I'm Ella.
Welcome to the Chasing Red Flags podcast, Let's Get Real.
Here, no topic is off limits.
And real beats perfect every time.
Welcome to the conversation.
Welcome to where you belong.
You're part of the family now, so let's get real together. Hi, Mama.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. This is so weird.
We are back on the couch.
We are back on the couch.
We are back.
We are back.
It's awesome. I'm so excited.
Yes.
I'm so happy you're home.
I missed this. I missed you. I missed the couch. I missed Jay. I missed everything.
It's crazy because I was thinking about this morning. The last time we were on this couch together was a year ago.
Yeah.
I mean, we're on this couch all the time together, but filming the podcast was a year ago.
It's crazy.
Because seasons 2 and season 3.
I was at school.
You were at college.
That is crazy.
So welcome to the Chasing Red Flags podcast, season 4. Let's get real.
Yay.
Yay.
Well, before we dive in, we just want to say thank you so much for being here. We truly appreciate it more than you know. Please subscribe to the Chasing Red Flags podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcast. And don't forget to rate, subscribe, and review this episode. We actually read all of the reviews and truly appreciate your kindness. It's what keeps us going. Thank you so much for letting us always be our true, authentic selves. Well, we're here. I am back from studying abroad in Barcelona.
Let's just say hardly studying, but yes, you're back from Barcelona.
I studied a little bit, but I would say 25% studying, 75% fun.
Yes, you definitely had a lot of fun.
Yes, it was great.
And I can't wait to talk about it and tell everyone all about your experience.
I'm so excited. And I feel like you have such a good perspective from being a mom whose first kid just went abroad. So it's going to be good.
It was really, it was so much better than I could have ever thought it would be. And just, we both learned so much from that experience.
100%.
I can't wait to share everything.
I'm excited. Let's do it.
So before diving into all the stories and insights and information that we have, I think I just need to tell a really funny story.
I think I know exactly what you're about to say. And I'm a little nervous because I think that people are going to find you incredibly crazy. If they already don't.
Let them judge. Let them think what they want of me. This is what I felt was important.
Okay.
So before Ella left, I thought it was very important to talk about safety. And you weren't listening.
I was not listening.
You were not listening to me. All you cared about was packing and what you were bringing and your outfits and everything you'd need. Yeah. And for us, we felt, based on your history, it was really important that you knew how to handle yourself in every situation and that you stay safe.
Yes.
So we had you. So we sat down the week before you left and we watched all 3 Taken movies.
Yes. So for anybody that doesn't know what she's talking about, Taken is a movie about 2 girls that go abroad and they trust the wrong guy and they get into a cab and they end up getting sex trafficked and kidnapped. So really, really good movie for me to watch right before I went abroad. I appreciated it, Mom. So thank you.
When you say it like that, it sounds so awful.
It sounds awful. No, it was awful. I was scared going abroad.
You
got me
No,
scared.
you weren't, and you loved the movies.
Okay, well, I
Liam
got scared.
Neeson is the star, and he is so incredible in that movie.
Yeah.
But you have to admit, there were so many tips and tricks that he gave you and that he gave us of how you should stay safe in general, not even just abroad, but all the time. That sometimes people can watch your phone and when you're typing something in, they're watching it. They can see your credit card being put in. There's just so many tips about how to identify someone, how not to get in a car with a stranger, even if they're telling you they are who they are. All these tips are so important.
I will say, after watching the 3 movies, plus having your tips and tricks and your big packing abroad list, I was over-prepared in the best way possible. So thank you.
I feel like it's important that as parents, we give you all the tools in the toolbox for you to go out and the real world and do everything that you need to do. And that's what we are trying to do. So sorry if I scared you.
In some ways, I believe that I was more prepared and independent being abroad and learned more out of the country than I ever did in school.
I don't disagree.
And I hate to say that, but it's so true.
Well, I think you also are more dependent on us when you're even in the United States. Even though we're not at school with you, you'll call us and ask us advice. There was a time change. You just had to make more decisions on your own. And I think that independence changed you.
Yeah, and it felt very empowering. So I was very happy doing it. And I'm happy to be back, but I do miss it.
Well, you've certainly grown up a lot in the last 4 months, and I'm happy to have you home.
Yeah,
All right. So now, are you good with me grilling you a little bit?
Absolutely. I love to talk about my experience abroad.
Right.
So
I made a list of questions, and I'm going to start with the easy ones.
Okay.
How did you choose Barcelona? Why that location, and what factors went into your decision?
Okay. I mean, so many different factors. I could probably list the main 5, I would say. First, I'm in the business school at the University of Maryland, and in Barcelona, a lot of the classes correlated with what I needed to take. So that was very convenient.
Right.
Second, it was a very easy travel home base area.
What do you mean by home base?
So I had the goal of traveling a lot on the weekends to different countries, and Barcelona was one of the most convenient and easy places to travel from.
Right.
So that was also a big factor. Another one was that a lot of my friends were going, not only from Maryland, but from high school. My friends who go to Penn State, they go to all different schools. My camp friends at Wisconsin. There were so many different factors about being able to travel with different people on the weekends, and that really made me want to go to Barcelona.
Well, I think that's important also because when you're at school, you see your Maryland friends.
Yeah.
And you have to go visit other friends.
100%.
But how amazing it is to see all these different walks of life in the same
place.
In the same place.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And then I also personally really wanted to be in an apartment and not school housing. And the
Yes, you
girls that I
did.
ended up living with abroad also wanted to do that. So it was very convenient. And the final factor was that we did have to take a language while being abroad, and I wanted to learn Spanish. So Barcelona was the perfect place to do that.
How'd that go for you?
Really, really good. I feel like I learned so much.
I love it. Can you describe the process of applying and preparing for going to abroad? Because I think that is what a lot of people find daunting.
Yeah. If you choose to go abroad, you usually go some point in your junior year. So I recommend start to consider where you want to go and who you want to go with around sophomore year. That's what I did.
Right.
And then when you apply, you have to remember that there are specific GPA requirements. So you have to have decent grades,
Yes.
as you know. And then there is also an essay component, which you kind of helped me with. I wrote my answers. You and Dad read through them. But you really have to be open, honest, and explain why you want to go abroad and what you think the benefits are going to be, because the abroad system's very competitive these days.
And the
So-
essays were long. You had to
very.
write
And it was 3 different
intricate essays.
questions.
Yeah.
So that was the big process. And then once you get in, there's something called batch processing. I think a bunch of schools have it, not all of them. I was very lucky that Maryland
Very
did,
lucky.
extremely.
Yeah.
Basically, if, as you know, you helped me organize all of my files, professional organizer over here, as you know, so thank you. But
You're welcome.
if you get all of the correct files and documents that you need to go abroad into the University of Maryland, they will take them and they will go and take your passport and get your visa for you.
Right.
And that was amazing and so helpful.
Yes, I would say University of Maryland did a great job
yeah.
kind of getting you organized. For those parents that don't have that experience or children that don't have that experience at their colleges,
Yeah.
I think that I would say Google what you need to go abroad and have that in advance. Because
Yes.
when you do find out you get accepted to the program, you only had 3 weeks to get all that information in for the first batch processing.
Yeah.
And it was quick. And there's a lot of information. There's bank statements. There's things you need to get notarized. There was just a lot. So the more advance notice that you have of what you need, the better.
The better.
I think
100%.
the other thing I would say that we did that I got advice from other parents, which was invaluable advice, was that we got you a passport card in addition to
Best
a passport.
thing you ever did.
Yes. So most people just bring their passport, and your friends mostly carried around their passport everywhere they went because you do need ID.
Or just didn't carry anything around.
Or just didn't
and
carry
we're hoping
anything
for the
around.
best.
Yeah, and hope for the best. That sounds much like college students, but you do need an ID at times.
Yeah.
So you only need your passport when you're traveling. So you had a passport card, which is basically
It's an ID.
like an ID card.
But your United States ID and driver's license isn't valid in Europe.
It does not work in Europe. So having the passport card, which is an international card, if you needed to get your Metro pass and you needed ID, you didn't have to bring your passport. You could have just used your passport card. There's all different places you could use that and only bring your passport card.
It was great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that worked out really nicely. All right. What about the housing situation? What was that like for you? I know you were in an apartment, which you loved.
Yes. So I can only speak for Maryland because that's school I go to. But I opted out of the school housing. They give you roommates. You get to choose like one or maybe two, but I wanted to choose everyone that I was living with. And I had a lot of options, so it was really nice. And I chose an apartment and it was amazing. I have the best apartment, like the best apartment, and the company is amazing. It's called Yukio, as you know, and my real estate agent who helped us was so communicative and just really made us feel so safe the whole time we were there.
Yeah, he kept in touch. He kept in touch with me, which I loved. You had a balcony. It was a beautiful building. It was in a very homey area.
2 locks, like double locked, everything. I felt extremely safe.
Yes, so I would say Yukio, good job.
Good job.
What were your biggest fears, or did you have any fears about going abroad?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, the whole process is scary, and being in a different country, and add on the fact that I was really nervous and scared to be missing you guys and Sadie and the comfort of being home. You know, I'm a homebody.
You are.
I chose Maryland because it's not too far away, but it also isn't in Massachusetts. So I like the thought of knowing that if I need to come home, I can come home. Yeah. And that was scary to know that in Europe I couldn't be doing that.
What did your dad say when you left? You are not allowed to come home.
Yep.
We will see you in end of April.
Yep. So that is what happened. But I am proud of myself. So
we're so proud of you, Ella. I don't think there was ever a time where you were like, I want to come home.
No. I loved it.
So
I want to go back.
I know you do. You'll go back, believe
I will.
me. What would you say that you did before you left to prepare you for leaving?
So one of the biggest things that we did, thanks Dad, finance man, but I got 2 credit cards that had no international fees.
Oh, that is right there.
Yes.
No
that is
international
like a really
fees.
big piece of
a lot
advice
of your
I
friends
recommend.
couldn't use their credit cards.
Yes. So I had an Amex one. I will say 50-50 for where it worked and where it didn't. A lot of places don't take Amex. So
Good
then
to
I
know.
also had a Visa one with no international fees, and it was so extremely helpful. They also take Apple Pay
Everywhere.
most places that you go, so it's
Okay.
nice to be able to just have the card on your phone.
What about cash?
Euros.
Yes. No. But is there places that only took cash?
Yes, a few places, small,
Okay.
little boutique-y places.
So you needed to have a little bit of cash.
Yes,
on you.
sometimes on the weekends if I was traveling to different countries, like when I was in Morocco, but you just have to always have a little bit available on you, but most times you can have credit cards.
Okay.
Other than that, I basically got every single thing that was on your abroad list, and I was so extremely prepared. We have an Amazon list on our storefront, and it is the longest link of all different products that you can bring abroad that are going to be helpful and that you're probably going to need while you're there. And you created it, and I am so grateful that I had everything.
Well, I think the reason we started it is because we had a college list.
Yes.
And we also have a Chasing Red Flags storefront on Amazon for our college list. Yeah. Everyone kept DMing us asking for all the products. And then we were like, oh, everyone's
We
asking.
should make one.
Yeah, everyone's asking us what plugs to use. And you loved all of the stuff that we got.
yeah.
So we put those all on an Amazon storefront. And you can literally buy everything and anything that you want if you look that up.
So thank you for doing that.
Yes. So let's be honest. You took Latin in high school.
I took Latin in high school.
So you didn't have a lot of Spanish behind you.
No.
When you traveled to all the different countries and you were in Barcelona,
Yes.
how did you navigate the language barrier?
So I would say that Google Translate was my best friend.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. I didn't know this.
Yes, so I had like the app downloaded, and wherever I was, you can just put in the language that they speak, type it in English, it comes out in their language, you can show it to them, and then they either can type back in their language or they can speak, and the Google Translate will like write it out for you when they hear it.
Wait, that's
And
incredible.
Yeah, it's
so
amazing.
if you're at a restaurant and you don't understand something on the menu,
You can also take pictures and like submit it. I use ChatGPT for that too. So I went
Wow.
between the both, and it was amazing. And then also kind of over time, especially in Barcelona, probably not on the weekends when I was going to different places, but in Barcelona, I started to pick up on specific words, and you kind of just learn a little bit more
Right.
as you're there. And I was there for 4.5 months, so it made sense.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm
it's good.
actually really proud of you.
Thank you.
But I like that you figured that out. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
How did you immerse yourself in the community?
First, I think it's really important to understand that cultural sensitivity, especially in Europe and places like this, it really matters. And it's important to respect and understand that their customs are very different than ours in the United States, and that you can't just like come in as an American and disrupt that.
So can you give me an example of what one of those is?
I would say especially in Europe, the service is just a little bit slower. Everyone's kind of on like an island time, more of like a relaxed sense of.
Yes, it's much
There's
more
no
relaxed.
urgency, and I don't mind that at all, but some people get really annoyed, so you can't just go in and be yelling and getting upset and annoyed that like your food isn't coming out or they haven't asked for your drink order yet, when this is just kind of how they are. The restaurants don't even open until 8 o'clock at night. So
I would
it's very
call you,
different. It's
and
very
you were
different.
sometimes eating at 9:30.
Oh yeah, our reservations would be at like 9:15, sometimes 10. It really depended.
It's great. It's just such
Yeah.
a different life. But that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's why you're having trouble eating at 6 o'clock now that you're home.
Yeah, 6 o'clock's really early now, and I just think
not
it's crazy.
early.
It's like I'm not a baby anymore, and it's just like
6
weird.
o'clock is still nighttime.
I don't know. It's weird for me. I'm still getting used to it.
All right. So did you face any issues with people taking advantage of you because you were an American?
Yes,
You did?
you know this.
Oh, I know what story you're going to
Yeah. And it was my bad, and I learned lots of lessons from it. But as you know, I was charged $250 instead of $25 in a cab,
Yes.
and that was a big mistake.
It was a learning lesson.
Yes.
Let's say it was a learning lesson. And
Yes.
actually, it happened week 2. So thank God it didn't happen later
Yeah.
on where it could have been happening a lot.
Yes.
So now that I think about it, my advice for families and parents is when you're getting your kid a credit card for abroad, to definitely get an alert on your phone if there's any charge above a certain amount of money.
Yes,
So dad had an alert on your phone
for over 100, right?
for, I think it was over 50, because dad, either 50 or 100, that he would get an alert. And we got an alert that said that you spent $250. And it was late at night when you were coming back from what we thought was a night out. So it made no sense.
Yeah.
So we texted you right away and said, did you just spend $250? And you were like, no, I spent $25. And we were like,
well,
no,
no,
you
you
spent
didn't."
$250. So what was the problem? How was he able to charge you $250?
Well, first of all, it was late at night and I wasn't paying attention and it was dumb, and I just like tapped my card on the machine that he gave me. I should have looked at what he was charging me, and I should have asked for a receipt, and I didn't do that. And every other time, no matter where I was, a restaurant, getting a postcard souvenir, it did not matter. I always got a receipt and I checked it out.
Okay, so that would be a key tip. They do take advantage sometimes, and so you need to make sure you know the exact amount being charged.
But good learning lesson.
Yes.
So.
Great
And we
lear-
were able to get the money back.
We did get the money back.
Yes.
Yes.
Told
Did
the
you
bank
ever-
I was scammed.
Right. Yes. Did you ever feel unsafe at all?
Honestly, no. There are just little things you have to be cautious about, I would say.
I think that's the biggest worry I hear from other parents,
Yes.
is that Barcelona isn't safe. And that's not how we felt, and I know that's not how you felt.
No, you just have to be cautious, but that's also just called situational awareness.
Oh, my favorite
which you
word.
taught me. So I just had to be aware of my surroundings at all times, especially on the metro, which I actually felt pretty safe on. I just always had a bag with me that had a zipper, and I just kept it close to me. And honestly, I was always okay, but I did have a guy friend who had his chain ripped from his neck while he was like getting onto the metro.
Which is scary.
Which is really scary. So I would also recommend, as you told me, don't bring anything valuable or that you would be upset if you lost it.
So I think it's really important that if something's meaningful to you, or
Yes.
a family member gave it, that you
Yeah.
take it off and only wear things that
Yep.
would be okay to get lost or,
Nothing-
God forbid, stolen.
Yeah, nothing sentimental, all of that. Just
Right.
leave it at home. You'll come back to it after the 4 months.
All right. So let's talk about money.
Let's talk about money.
How did you manage money, Ella? How did you? Because I know it was a struggle in certain aspects.
Yes. I'm not going to lie. Going abroad and traveling places every weekend is extremely expensive.
Yes, it is.
And that's just a fact. Before I left, we sat down as a family and talked about what I was going to be paying for and what you guys were so graciously and kindly willing to contribute to my abroad experience.
Right.
So I did work the summer before, basically spent absolutely nothing at Maryland and saved it all for abroad. But I am glad that we were able to come up with a plan before I left.
Yes. I think it was important. We sat down, we made a spreadsheet.
Yep.
We talked about where you wanted to travel. And for us, and every family is different. We felt like it's a once in a lifetime experience to be abroad. And so we wanted to pay for your flights on the weekends to go to these other countries, but we certainly weren't going to pay for your shopping experiences there and all of the other
My
crazy, your
alcohol.
alcohol and other experiences that you were doing there.
Yes.
So everyone has different rules, but it's very important to go over that first. So there were a lot of kids that blew through their budgets or their whole savings from the semester before, the summer before, and it's just important to go over as families.
100%.
So you're a foodie.
I am a foodie.
You love food.
I love food.
You love trying
I
new food.
eat so much.
Let's talk about favorite foods. Let's talk about what you loved. What if there's anything you didn't like? Talk about food.
Top thing that I tried that I was obsessed with that we had when Dad was here and you came to visit was paella, which is a huge bowl of rice, and it's known for it to be usually filled with seafood and mussels and whitefish and shrimp and all. Oh my God, I know you don't like it, but it's so good. And it's just like a big bowl of it all mixed together. They have a chicken version and they have a vegetarian version.
Yes.
And I had it so much while I was in Barcelona. So that was my favorite. I also tried something called croquettes. My favorite were the jamon y ches, which is jamon and cheese.
Look at you with your Spanish. That was
And
very
it's
fancy.
My ham and cheese croquettes, and you just heat them up, and they're like a little fried like ball, and it's just filled with cheese and ham, and it's so good. There are different
It reminds
kinds.
me of you microwaving cheese in the microwave when you're home. You just always like melted cheese.
I love melted cheese, no matter what kind, and don't judge me for microwaving my cheese sticks. They're so good.
Was
But
there anything you didn't like?
honestly, no.
In any country, you liked all the food you tried.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I was a little iffy about trying a few things, but everything I tried, I did like.
Okay, I like it.
So, yeah.
So what were the best resources while you were abroad for traveling? What did you use for resources?
So, GTG Abroad, as you know, we love their website. It's a free website, and it basically was designed by two moms who had kids that went abroad. And
Incredible.
And it was basically a guideline for all different places that you can go while you're abroad to travel on the weekends, and places to stay and restaurants to go to and activities to do while you're there.
By country.
By country, by each place.
It was the
so
most
there's one for
helpful
the
thing.
Amalfi Coast, there's one for Florence, there's one for Rome, there's one for Greece, there's one for Morocco, and it's
Every
amazing.
single place
Yes.
you can imagine.
They now have an elite program, which I didn't know about because they didn't have it until now. And some summer discounts. I guess it's like $29.99
That's
just to
incredible.
pay, and you get discounts and some like coupons, and it's amazing. So definitely a great website.
Dad and I actually use GTG.
Yep.
What
For your
I
trip.
noticed that was awesome is that under each country, it had the activities, the places to stay, and the restaurants, but also had by price.
Yes.
So we were like, okay, so we'll look at the nicer restaurants. And
Yep.
you were like, oh, I'm going to look at the really
Cheaper.
cheap
Yep, yep,
restaurants.
yep.
But it was great because it really listed if you wanted to splurge or
Yep.
not splurge. That was huge.
100%.
So for us, for some of our resources, we used Flown Abroad.
Flown
So
Abroad.
it's a Facebook
Oh,
page.
you told me about this.
It's only for parents. There are no kids on it. But I will tell you that that was such a huge resource for us. It's just like it was a way to connect with other parents that had kids abroad. If someone was in an accident and needed surgery, other moms were giving advice about what hospital to go to. If someone had a sick child, if someone needed to get something abroad, a mom would be
Yeah.
like, "I'm going to Paris next week. Can
Like
anyone
they
bring my
forgot
kid
their
something?"
medicine, yeah.
Exactly. So I thought that was hugely helpful. And
we love this book.
yes. So this is called the Study Abroad Safety Book, A Parent's Guide to Sending Your Child Abroad by Carrie Pasquarello. I've had dinner with Carrie. Yes. She's incredible. She's a safety strategist, and she wrote this book. And every year or 2 years, she updates the book. And it is a huge resource. So I would say for parents, definitely get that and then send it with your kids because it's huge.
Good advice, Mom.
So what top 3 countries, I know this is going to be a hard one for
God.
you. What top 3 countries would you say were your favorites?
That's really hard. Probably my top 3 would be Paris, Morocco, and Amsterdam. all for different reasons.
Okay, what are the reasons? I need to hear all about it.
Paris, because I was with you guys.
Me.
And love you, but it is the most beautiful city.
Beautiful.
I don't care if I had went by myself. I would have still had the most amazing time. It is huge. The food is good. It is romantic. And I'm a hopeless romantic.
I would say hopeful romantic.
Hopeful romantic. I like that better.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was just such an amazing trip. I could have stayed for another
It was great.
20 weeks.
It was great.
Yes.
We did
And
a lot
then
of walking.
So much
It's
walking.
a huge place.
Huge.
Yeah.
I think one of the days we did like a half marathon.
We did.
Yeah, it was, oh my God, amazing.
Dad was keeping track on his watch. He's like
he was
obsessed with
counting
every
the
single
steps
thing.
and everything. So good. And then Morocco, I really liked.
Loved Morocco.
I'm an adrenaline junkie. I love that like heart drop feeling. We were on camels. We did an ATV ride. We went on this cool hike to a waterfall. It was so high up. Like I loved being active and doing all those activities. So that was one of my favorite.
Yeah.
And then
And you did a bath.
Oh, and we did it was an interesting bath. Yeah, it was really fun.
You got mud all over you.
Mud,
and-
massage, like very, very immersed in the culture.
Yeah, which I think is so important. You did a lot of that when you were at each place.
It was great.
Okay, Amsterdam.
And Amsterdam. It was so beautiful. The canals were stunning. And then that one was also for the people. I was with all of my high school friends, and
Little
it was
reunion trip.
so good to just spend a weekend with everybody in the same place, and how lucky we were all to be abroad in Barcelona together. Like
crazy.
It was amazing. So such a good weekend. Top 3 places, 100%.
I love it.
Yeah.
What an incredible experience. You've been to countries that Dad and I still haven't been to.
So lucky.
And we got to go to Amsterdam alone, and then we got to go to Paris, but Dad and I have not been to Morocco or so many of the countries, and we were living vicariously through you.
Well, and I made my whole journal.
You did. Oh,
Yes.
you have an incredible.
I know.
You were journaling the entire time. You
I
were
will
there.
say anybody that goes abroad, I recommend documenting it somehow.
You have all your.
I told you, like, I just showed you when I came home,
Yeah.
but I bought a huge book while I was abroad, and I started collecting souvenirs from every single place that I visited, and I taped them all. 2
was
pages on the
amazing.
book, and then on the page after that, I wrote a description about my weekend and how it was and what I enjoyed, and I rated them, and now in 3 years, I can go back and look at the amazing experiences I had.
I know. You're always finding ways to journal. I love it.
It's good.
What advice would you give other students that are preparing to go abroad right now, either for the summer or for the fall or even the spring?
Research your destinations, where you want to go. Not only your home base, but where you want to go on the weekends, because as much as you think you have 4 months of time, it's so limited and it goes by so fast. So you want to go to the places that you know you're actually going to love. So I would recommend researching, and then also choosing compatible people to go to these places with.
Yes.
When you're living with these people, when you're traveling with these people, and you're staying in the same room as these people, it's a lot. So make sure that you are choosing the right people to go with.
Yeah, and I think it's also, we had discussed this, having the same interest in the countries that you're going
100%.
to. So you're an adrenaline junkie.
Yeah.
So if you went with people who didn't want to go on ATVs and didn't want to do
Yep.
the bath and didn't want to go on a camel ride,
100%.
that wouldn't have been right for you.
100%.
So just making sure each country that you have people that want to do like-minded things. with
Exactly. And save money. Save money. If you're
Everything's
like
about saving
literally
money.
work and just save it, you don't need to get that extra coffee as I speak and I'm drinking my
Literally got
coffee
coffee
right
this
here
morning.
with Cafe Fresh, because
Yeah.
I did miss it when I was abroad. Like we didn't have iced coffees in Barcelona.
Wait,
like,
what are you talking about?
They were like this
Oh,
small.
tiny.
They were tiny, and I just missed my Cafe Fresh coffee. But save your money. It will be worth it, and you're going to want to have as much as possible. So that's my advice.
Okay.
Yeah.
All good advice.
What about you? Do you have any good advice as a mother for other parents whose kids are going abroad or thinking about going abroad?
Yeah. I mean, I think for us, it came down to 3 things, probably 2 or 3 things.
Yeah.
Trust your child. You know, know
It's a
that
big
you-
one.
Yeah, but know that you've given them the tools. Don't send your child if you don't trust them, right? They're off on their own to be independent and to learn and to fail and to figure it out. And so trust that they can and they will, and that you've given them all the tools in the toolbox in order to do that. Discuss expectations with your child before they leave.
Yes.
It's much harder to communicate with your children abroad with the time change.
Yes.
And, I think this is a big one. celebrate their successes. I feel like I tried to do that really well. You've been in, there are so many situations that didn't go right,
Yes.
when you were abroad. A lot of situations. And
Like life does, that's okay.
Like life does. And when you did it all on your own and you did it well, I think it's important to say, I'm so proud of you. You got through it. It sucked. It wasn't the best situation, but look what you did. So celebrate their success.
And honestly, I appreciated that, and it kept me positive. And even though I couldn't get a real mom hug, I basically felt that way, especially when you were saying things like that. So,
love you. Okay. What about packing? Let's talk about packing.
You mean my 45 bags that I brought abroad?
Yes. No, let's be realistic. You didn't bring 45 bags. You brought 2 roller bags.
Yes.
And
a backpack and
a
shoulder bag.
And a shoulder bag. You probably only needed one of those.
No, I liked both.
Okay.
They were great.
Okay.
The biggest thing, though, I recommend is bringing a really comfortable weekend bag that you can fit underneath your seat on the plane.
So, and you found one that
I found one that I love. I didn't like a backpack. I don't know why. A lot of people like having it on both shoulders. Yeah. I just liked my one shoulder bag, and it honestly was massive. You can expand it.
So heavy.
It was called the Foldy. It was so heavy, but I fit boots in there. I fit jeans. I fit like everything I needed, and it still fit under the seat. So,
and some of your friends had trouble with paying extra on some of these airlines because it didn't fit under their seat, which they charge you for an overhead.
I am very glad you brought up airlines because they suck.
Okay. So
they
go into
are
detail.
Just very strict, especially with your bags. If they see you walking by after they check your ticket and your bag looks bigger than the thing, they will pull you aside, make you put it into the compartment to show that it fits. If it doesn't, $75 charge. You're screwed. And it's just like, I guess they make a commission off of it, so they want to do that, but it's very annoying. They're very strict about it. Also, in Europe, they are extremely strict about liquids. So I recommend, especially for makeup products for girls, bring powdered stuff and not a lot of liquids because you have to fit it in, I think, one plastic,
a tiny little bag.
Yeah, it's like one plastic bag, and they will make you throw it out. I did have to throw out my moisturizer, and I was very upset about it. So I just recommend being very careful about that stuff.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
So that's definitely important.
Yes.
Did you bring anything that you definitely needed or forget something?
In Europe, they don't have a lot of the over-the-counter medicines that they do in the United States. When I am sick and have a cold, I am an avid Dayquil and NyQuil user, and they did not have that in Barcelona.
Right.
So I brought a lot of extra packs. I also made you bring more when you came to visit me halfway through.
You did. But I packed you basically every single over-the-counter medication that you could possibly imagine.
Yep.
You had a pharmacy with you.
Yes.
Did you notice any difference in how people approach things like work or school over there? Was the culture of people different, not just the location that you were at?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Especially, I would say, with school, being in an environment where people weren't competing against you to be the best in the class, or the teachers weren't looking for you to fail. Not that they are in the United States, but they're definitely a little more strict in the way that they do things. The teachers and the environment and the school that I was a part of in Barcelona empowered me and made me actually want to learn and go to class. So I'm really grateful for that.
So there was much less competition there.
Much less competition. And it was great.
That's very interesting. Okay, back to medicine for a second.
Yes.
You were on anxiety medicine.
Yes, I was.
Was it difficult or complicated bringing medicine abroad with you?
So yes, a little bit. I brought my Lexapro, my anxiety, and my birth control. And then, as we had just said, all of the over-the-counter medicines. I had to get enough in advance for the 4, and I like to have an extra 1 or 2. Yeah. So the amount of months that I was going to be abroad. So make sure that you're able to figure out a way to do that.
Right. And for anyone listening, you do need to call your insurance company and just say you're going to be out of the country. Yep. And they do have a code for that, and we'll give you advance code.
And then you recommended, which you had learned, to print out a copy of all of the prescriptions. Yeah. That I was bringing, not the over-the-counter meds, but the birth control and my Lexapro. God forbid they stop you at
Yes.
an airport, see all of the pills in your bag and think that you're a drug dealer or something, you can show
The
that
prescription.
the prescription and that they are for your own health.
Yes.
So, yes.
So
I recommend doing that.
Yes, I recommend doing that as well.
Yes.
It is illegal to send medication. We had learned this. It
Yes.
is illegal to send medication to Europe.
It is.
So if you forget your medication, there is really no way to ship it to your child.
Yep.
So it's really important that if you're not visiting them, you send them with that amount.
And be extra prepared.
Yeah.
Like I was.
What did you do for your mental health when you were there? I don't think we've talked about this. Like, what did you do when you were
Well,
having a bad day?
You know, I was joined a Pilates studio.
Yes.
That was big. I was really excited for that because I made a lot of local friends
Which is
that would
awesome.
sign up for the same times and days as me, and we would take the class together. And it was just an hour, but it was like something to keep me busy and kind of immerse myself more in the everyday life of what people do there. And then I also was big on walking.
Yeah.
Barcelona is absolutely stunning. It was beautiful weather there.
My
I
walking's
was-
rubbed off on you.
It has rubbed off on me, and like now we're doing it that I'm home,
Yeah.
so it's been great. But I lived about 15 to 20-minute walk from the Sagrada Familia, so it was so fun to just walk there and see the area. And then on really, really nice days, I would go to the beach. That was so fun. And over in that area, it's near the Gothic Quarter. It has all of the side streets, boutiques, and it was really fun to just have a little shopping day. So anytime that I needed to do something for me, I would do that.
Perfect.
My biggest thing, though, is I chose not to go out every single night that I was in Barcelona.
Right.
Not only because I was traveling on the weekends and I wanted to save my energy, but also that sometimes it was better to just get dinner with a few friends or one friend and catch up, have a glass of wine, have a Diet Coke instead, have a Sprite, anything, and then just be able to go to bed really early.
Right.
And I did that, and it really protected my mental health as well. So
You love your sleep.
I do love my sleep, and I
Yes.
needed to keep that up even being in a different country.
Yes. I was actually very proud of you. You had like 1 or 2 nights, right, in Barcelona that you always went out.
My Shoko Mondays.
Your Shoko Mondays. You never missed a Shoko Monday.
I missed like maybe 2 or 3, but I was very good on going. Other than that, though, I would take the time to myself.
Yeah. No, I love it. All
Yes.
right.
I have a few questions for you.
Ooh, okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
What was the best part of me being away? If there was any.
No, there was a good part. I would say, obviously, I missed you a ton, but the best part of you being away was the time change.
Yes.
I
knew
think
you were
I
gonna
would
say
have
that.
struggled with a time change the other way around, but the time change worked in my advantage.
Yes.
As you know, I don't sleep until my children are home safe in bed. It's just one of my red flags.
I don't think it's a red flag. I get why you do it. I just wish you'd get more sleep.
I know, but I like to make sure that you guys are home safely in bed.
Yes.
And it was a 6-hour ahead time change. So even when you went out on Choco Mondays until 5 o'clock in the morning, I was still awake when you were coming home and passing out and going to bed. So it was such a good feeling to know that I could actually sleep soundly.
Yeah.
And I'm actually a little anxious now that you're back in the United States
know.
and you go back to school and you're up till 3 in the morning that I'm not going to get any sleep.
Do I have a
yet.
curfew now?
You have a curfew.
What is
now
it?
that you're home, you have a curfew.
What time?
I don't know. We can discuss it.
Okay. And what about any other tips that we haven't talked about that you would give parents?
I think I would say something that we did do is that we tried to teach you problem solving skills. And I know that a lot of that is what happens in the moment, but we did a lot of what ifs, which we used to do with you when you were little. Like, what if a stranger comes up to the car and offers you a piece of candy? No,
You
but
get
that's
in.
but you don't get in. You don't. Still at 21 years old, you get in. You don't get in, although you probably would because you like candy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we did a lot of those. We did a lot of like what if situations.
Yeah.
And then we would teach you how to problem solve or give you advice on how to problem solve that situation. And I think some of those were really helpful for you. But I think that's the biggest thing is maybe go over a couple what ifs because a lot changes and a lot happens and a lot is situational when you're there. So that would be my biggest tip.
Love it.
Okay. So my turn.
Okay.
I have, I know a few of these answers might be hard, but here's some rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Rapid fire, so they have to be short answers.
Yep.
Okay.
Favorite 2 activities on a weekend trip?
My cooking classes. I took one in the Amalfi Coast, I took one in Barcelona, and I took one in Florence. And they were awesome.
You love cooking.
All different types of food. Got to eat it all. So good. And I did a beer bath with my friend in Prague, and that was awesome.
I never asked you about that. Give us 2 seconds on what a beer bath is. Were you literally immersed in beer?
It was like a big warm bath of like, but
Ew.
it wasn't just beer. There were like other like things in it and products in it that like made your skin really smooth. And then in the middle of the 2 baths was a big beer tap. And we would just be drinking the beer and sitting in the
Sitting in beer
in the
and
bath.
drinking beer.
Yeah, it was great.
That sounds totally
So
disgusting.
fun. Those are good activities.
Was it good for your skin? Is that why they say
Yeah,
to
and
do
I felt
it?
so smooth after. Yeah, it was awesome.
Okay. I don't think we've ever talked about that. Biggest cultural shock?
A bunch of different things, but this is so random. The first time I went into a grocery store, I realized that they don't refrigerate eggs. So they are just sitting on a shelf just in the grocery store, not in the fridge area.
So did you refrigerate them when you got them home?
So you can, and we looked it up to see if it was okay, and it totally is, but it's just a custom there that you don't refrigerate eggs. You don't need to.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yep.
Best desserts you had and where you had them?
You know I'm a dessert connoisseur. I would say probably the chocolate croissants in Paris that you also had with me, and then the churros in Barcelona.
Those were the best things I've
Yes.
I've ever had in my life.
I
And
had
don't
them
even
all
really
the time,
like churros.
but they, oh my God, no, I love churros.
Can you literally
And
explain
it was
what
just
they
like
were?
a stuffed churro with like different kinds of sauces in the middle, and it was so good.
It wasn't even just a churro. Inside the churro
Yes,
was
it was
literally
stuff.
chocolate and hazelnut, and you got
Yeah.
to pick your flavors. Then you had
and
these
like
little,
a Kinder flavor.
Oh my
Oh my
God.
God, so good.
Yeah, that was good. 3 things you brought that you can't live without.
My phone wrist strap, which you recommended.
Yes.
I wouldn't have thought to bring that.
Yes.
I wrapped it around my wrist and it was connected to my phone. God forbid anybody tried to steal it from me. It was attached to it at
That's
all
huge
times.
because I think it made you feel
Yep,
safe.
that was really big. All the air tags that I brought, I had one in my purse, I had one on my bag, I had one like everywhere. Very helpful. And obviously my phone.
Okay. Best resource for traveling on the weekends.
GTG Abroad, as we know, we love it there. And then my friend also introduced me to another website that's kind of similar, has recommendations for all different countries to go to, called Euroway.
Okay.
So
use
both are great.
All right. If you had one more extra weekend to stay, where would you have gone?
Switzerland or Greece, because I love to ski. None of my friends ski, though, so we weren't able to make it there. And Greece, if
Well, 'cause you
I
wanted to
had
go for a
stayed
long time.
longer, because it's like a 10-day trip if you really want to do it right, and the weather wasn't nice enough yet, but I would have loved to live out my Mamma Mia dreams.
Well, you will go to Greece one day.
I hope so.
Put that on the bucket list.
on the bucket list. Another one added.
All right. Biggest lesson you learned?
To be flexible. Things are not always...
Can you say that one more time?
Be flexible. Things are not always going to go the way that you want, and you're not always going to go on the trip that you planned, or
Things change a lot.
I don't know, things just change. So it's important to handle that with grace and know that maybe things happen for a reason.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
Can
It's
you
a good
keep
one.
that here?
Yep.
Okay.
It's good.
What should parents know when supporting their kids abroad? What should we know?
Send money. No, I'm not kidding. I know you think that's funny.
Oh, okay.
Anything is appreciated because abroad is expensive. So once in a while, the $20 Venmo is very,
helpful.
very nice to get.
Yeah. That's actually really funny. All right. So in just one semester, obviously, you've grown up so much, and I'm so proud of you. I'm
Thank
having
you.
my little mom moment.
Thank you.
It's great having you home. I love having you back.
I missed you.
I know it's hard sometimes having parents again because you feel
It
like
does.
you literally didn't have
It
parents.
is. It's definitely interesting being back with parents and coming home to that, but I'm lucky to have it too. So I'm not taking it for granted.
Well, I love you.
Love you more.
Happy to have you home.
Thank you.
So happy to be on this couch again.
I know. I love it.
So happy to be doing the pod, and we're
good.
all good.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. We did it.
We did it.
4-1, we're done. It's good. Thank you all so much for being here. We hope that this episode was helpful. And if you are a parent or a student that is considering going abroad or has a child that is going abroad, please feel free to reach out and go to our Amazon storefront to see the Big Abroad list.
We'll be back next time with Dr. Christine Crawford, Associate Medical Director of NAMI and author of You Are Not Alone for Parents and Caregivers. It's the NAMI Guide to Navigating Your Child's Mental Health. It's going to be a more serious episode, but definitely incredibly insightful, and she is brilliant. Thanks for being here.
And in the meantime, keep being real.
Keep being you.
And know that we've got your back. If you have any thoughts, questions, or just want to say hi, we would love to hear from you. Your support means everything to us. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Chasing Red Flags Official and on Facebook and YouTube at Chasing Red Flags. And if you want to share your story, ask a question, or pick up some Chasing Red Flags merch, go to chasingredflags.com. The Chasing Red Flags podcast is produced by Jay Del Turco. We are new in this space, so if you enjoyed what you're hearing, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or add a comment and like on our YouTube channel.